Coach Fred Hoiberg, Juwan Gary, Brice Williams. At this point, I will open up for questions.
Fred, Boise State's got pretty much an intact roster compared to the previous two teams where they were kind of mixing and matching guys from the end of their bench. How different is that to prepare for? And I mean, obviously it's a higher degree of difficulty, but then is there a benefit to having more film and I guess stuff to study from what they do?
I would say generally yes, but not against this team. They're so good. They shoot it from every position. They got great size. That's the thing that really stands out about this team is, you know, besides their point guard, who's a great player, everybody else is between 6'7" and 6'9", and they pose a lot of problems because they can all shoot. They're very skilled. And you look at the production they've had on this trip from an offensive standpoint, they scored 89 and 100 in their two games. And it's a very disciplined team. They're not going to beat themselves. And very experienced group as well, and very well coached. I think Leon does a terrific job. So, yeah, it's another game. I thought the key to the Georgetown win was getting off to a great start. They made a run at the end, but we allowed ourselves a cushion because of how well we played for those first 30 minutes. And then Matt got hot, hit some really tough shots. But I thought our offense was very efficient, especially down the stretch. So it's going to take a complete 40-minute game if we want to have a chance to win this one.
What stands out about Degenhard, and can you appreciate his game and his career and sticking at one place for 4 years as opposing coach?
Yeah, incredible, and he became the all-time leading scorer at Boise this last game. And again, he does it in so many different ways. He plays the 4, he plays the 5. Matchup problem at both spots with the way that he plays and his skill set, hitting transition threes. Able to put it on the deck and really good in the post, and especially when they put him in high-low situations. So again, really good team, very disciplined and very good executing team. I think out of their 74 possessions, they were in 56 different sets the other day. So we're not going to be able to go through all 56 sets. It's going to be more conceptual as far as our game plan, and hopefully go out there and execute it at a very high level, knowing that they're going to make some tough shots. You can't get deflated. You look at that first game against George Washington, it was a 7-point game with about 8 to go, and they won by 40, and they just completely out-executed them down the stretch in that last run, and that's what they're capable of doing. We can't hang our heads if we go through a tough stretch because they'll pounce on you if that happens.
In terms of style of play, do they remind you of anyone you've seen this year, the last few years?
You know what, St. Mary's is a team that they remind me of, and Purdue. You know, they run and execute a lot of different sets. You know, Purdue will have 28 possessions in the first half and run 26 different actions. It's similar to that, and they're very, very good at executing. They've got very smart, high IQ players, and then defensively, they're tough, they're physical. And the last thing about it is when the shot goes up, we got to be prepared for a battle. They're very good offensive rebounders, and one of the better offensive rebound percentage teams that we will play against.
Brice and Juwan, when you hear Coach say St. Mary's and Purdue, what are some of the lessons you guys can take away from those two games and apply to tomorrow?
Like you said before, like I said last game, we also had a good start. I mean, this year we went to Purdue. It was kind of a bad start, and the result was very bad. So just get off to a good start and don't get off the script. Just go out there and play our basketball. We don't need to go out there and try to play hero ball and do something we have been doing all tournament. All tournament playing hard defense, crashing glass, making the right reads on offense, getting the guys the ball at the right time and stuff like that. So we don't need to get off the script. We just need to focus on the game plan and stick with that game plan for sure.
Brice, talk about handling adversity. You had to overcome a double-digit deficit against Arizona State, and then had to hold off a late rally against Georgetown. How do you think you guys have, since the end of the regular season to now, just maybe improved in terms of not getting too high or too low when things aren't going your way?
Just when adversity comes, we don't really split. We're more so focused on coming together, solving the problem together, rather than, like Juwan said, playing hero ball.
Could all three of you just talk about what the experience has been like this past week playing here in Vegas? Obviously, you were at MGM before. Now you're taking an even bigger stage here at T-Mobile, where Team USA plays. The NBA Cup is held here as well.
It's been great. We've loved this tournament. A big part of that is the amount of time we've been able to spend together after the season. I've loved this group. I've loved coaching them, and I really cherish these 3 weeks that we've gotten to spend together after the disappointment of how the regular season ended. And it gives us a chance to compete in a tournament format, and that's invaluable. It's a great experience for all the returners, for the guys coming back. It allows these guys to have the opportunity to finish on a high note. It's been a first-class run event. It's been absolutely phenomenal. They've taken great care of us, and I'm really, really happy we played. I saw a couple other coaches back at the hotel. I saw one on the street last night as I was walking back to the hotel, and they said the same thing. They're really, really happy that they decided to play in this. And some of those teams had several that opted out or went into the portal before the tournament started. That's one thing I'm proud of our group, and I think it speaks to the character of our guys that everybody is stuck with it. And we'll see what happens. You know, once our run is over, you know, anything can happen with the college basketball roster. But I'm happy and proud of these guys for the way that it's gone down to get a couple more wins under our belt and the opportunity to continue to compete.
Staying fresh is obviously hard in a tournament format, but when you're in a place like this with a lot of distractions, how do you think the team has handled just preparing their bodies, but also, you know, taking care of business?
Yeah, you know, we've got recoveries that we do after every game. We've got ice tubs that our guys will sit in as soon as the game is over. You know, Kurt Joseph, our strength coach, and our medical staff, they do a really good job with the recoveries. Plus the timeouts are about 10 minutes long, so these guys should have plenty of time to recover before we got to go back on the floor, which allows us to get a little extra rest and be strategic. Like we took Juwan out, I think, a minute before the 8-minute media timeout, and then we did the same thing with Brice. And we went on, you know, played actually pretty well, and were able to give him a little bit of an extended rest in the first half, and that allowed him to play the entire 20 minutes in the second after playing a 39-minute game against Arizona State in the first one. So, you know, again, this time of year, listen, they'll have the opportunity to rest when this thing's over.
Fred, I was curious, have you and Leon Rice ever crossed paths? And if so, how?
A lot, yeah. He's one of my actually good friends in this business, and you know, one of the true good guys. And you know, I'm happy for his success. And he just every year he throws a great group out there. His teams are always very well coached and very well prepared. And yeah, I think the world of Leon and his wife Robin and my wife. You know, we're all very, you know, we've gone on trips where we've been together and spent a lot of time at dinners and that kind of thing. We spent a little time here when both teams first got here. We were able to spend time with him and Tad Boyle. So yeah, so I've spent a lot of time with Leon, and I absolutely think the world of him.
What does it take to spend 15 years at one program? And he's really changed the expectations, and you know, when they don't make the NCAA tournament, there's a little bit of noise now all of a sudden, which used to not really exist. So what does it take to stay in the place for 15 years with the
Well, I just think it shows where he's raised the standard and the expectation and the level of where that program is since he took over. And listen, they should be in the tournament. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They should have been in the NCAA tournament. And you know, he's just he's done an unbelievable job of, you know, getting the right players to fit the system that he plays. And you can see it again with this year's team: the size, the versatility, the skill. It's very much a Leon Rice team.
Brice, this might be a dumb question, but you played Boise State when you were at Charlotte a couple years ago. I know Tyson was there, but it's pretty much a new roster. Is there anything at all you can remember about that game or take from that, or is it completely different?
It's going to be a completely different game. One, because at Charlotte we ran like a Princeton-style offense, and here, you know, NBA-style offense running, more so running. And then so yeah, it's going to be a totally different game. But I do remember playing in Myrtle Beach. It was a fun game. I think we won that game. Or did we lose?
Yeah, you won.
Yeah, we won that game.
You held it like 42 points.
Yeah, we won that game.
What do you take of Tyson? You've been in college for a while. Tyson's been in college for a while. What do you think of Tyson Degenhardt's game?
You know, when we were about to play Boise State, I thought back to that game. And I didn't like remember him or anything. I doubt he remembers me. I wasn't the same player I am now. But you know, it's been a long time in college, and it feels like it was 4 years ago when I played him. But you know, the experience helps it. The game just slows down. I remember at that time the game was still slowing down for me. It was still pretty fast, but you know, I've learned a lot, and I feel like my experience shows, and I know his does, the way he plays.
Fred, for those of us that covered Boise State, maybe haven't been super close paying attention to your team, and you get a little streaky at times, some wins in a row and some losses, wins. How do you kind of look at the season you guys had? And obviously you were in a great position yourselves to make the tournament until the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we were, and you know, that's the disappointment. That's the hard thing. You know, obviously, you know, our local guys know this. We had a key injury to Burke when he was really coming into his own and playing great basketball at the end of the Ohio State win at home. And you know, we lost 3 games in a row by 2 points, and we did not do a good enough job protecting our home court at the end of the day. Last year we went 10-0 at home. We were in the tournament. This year we went 4-6, and we missed it by a couple games. So, you know, again, I've loved coaching these guys, and you know, to get the sour taste of how it finished, you know, out of the way, you know, to come out here and compete and play pretty solid basketball so far. And you know, it was tough from that standpoint because we were in really, really good shape, and then we had a couple things happen. But it happens to every team. You can't use that as an excuse. It is what it is, and we get a chance to compete and hopefully create some momentum going into next year.
For Juwan and Brice, I know you still got work to do here, but what can postseason success do for the future of a program? Like when you see guys getting experience on this stage, you know, like Kale and guys that are coming back next year. What can that do for like building confidence going into next season to where all of a sudden that standard for postseason continues to rise?
Well, first off, anybody knew Kale Jacobson is probably one of the highest IQ players that I ever played with and played against, stuff like that. So, Kale, Sam and other guys that are coming back, their confidence is going to be very, very high. Kale is a dynamic player. He can play at 1 through 5 for sure, as you can see. Sam, the leadership, the voice, the hustle, the toughness, stuff like that. Connor, knockdown shooter, like all the guys who come back next year, like this is an opportunity to still showcase like what they could do. Like it's 18 Saturdays gonna be playing college basketball. Us in the Final Four in March Madness for sure. So, that's a big opportunity to still play basketball and play college basketball. So, this is an opportunity for still have fun, still play with this group of guys. But in the day, me, Brice, and some other guys, this is our last go run. So we're gonna go out there, play hard. But in the day, the guys come back next year, they're going to boost off of this, especially if we get to that championship Sunday. We win that championship, that's another confidence booster for them next year. So when summer come around, they know the expectation of the new guys that's coming in, they know what they need to get to, they know what they need to do and stuff like that. So, the guys that's coming in next year, stuff like that, it's going to be a lot, but in the day, it's confidence build too.
Fred, what do you make of the timing of this tournament? And I know Leon said if they would have had to turn around and play Tuesday in the NIT or something after not getting in, it wouldn't have gone that well. I mean, they had spring break, they took the full week off and kind of reset. I mean, you're dealing with transfer portal and all that kind of stuff, but what do you make of kind of the 2-week break before this tournament?
Yeah, it's been interesting timing for sure. I'm exhausted, I can tell you that. I've been doing Zoom calls all day in our off days, just trying to help build the roster for next year. But I'll say this, when we're in a film session, when we're on the court, we're all in. All the attention is on the guys as we continue to try to build the roster. It was unique to have a couple weeks. That first week we did individual skill work. Some of the guys took completely off. Brice had a huge load on his body. Juwan had a big load on his body, so they didn't do as much in that off week as some of the other guys. And then we got back into small groups the next week, and then it was team competition after that. So it has been a very unique time. I think you're going to have to look at it on the transfer portal, the window when it opens, because it's tough. When you're still trying to play and you're recruiting at the same time, it does make it a very difficult dynamic. But again, it is what it is. And if you want to have a chance to have sustained success, you got to embrace it. You got to move on and do the best you can and build a competitive roster.
Brice, following up on the question Juwan answered, the guys that are coming back, have you seen confidence grow in those guys from this experience, just being able to play on this stage and get the minutes that some of those guys have been getting?
The guys have done a good job, staying ready for when their name is called. Kale Jacobson in particular, but playing on this stage also helps coach with recruiting because players will watch our games on TV, and if they're smart, they look at how we play and how they fit in. And in today's landscape of college basketball with the transfer portal and everything, I'm pretty sure it helps a lot. So, but the guys coming back, they're growing in confidence. They're getting a chance to play on the big stage, and their confidence is being tested. Their game is being tested, but I feel like they're all shining through, and it's going to build a strong core for next year.
Juwan, with 3 ball handlers in the starting lineup, previous game with Sam, Kale, and then Brice, you were at the 4 primarily. Were you more comfortable at the 4? Do you prefer the 3? What do you like about that starting lineup?
I'm out there. I'm comfortable with what position coach can go out there. Be 3, 4, 5, no matter what it is. I'm a basketball player today. If I got to go at 5 man, I'm going at 5 man. So it's good to have 3 dynamic ball handlers out there because I get to set them up with flares, screen stuff like that, everything. But in the day, I'm just out there trying to win, no matter what position I am.
Fred, you mentioned Degenhardt and Cardenas, but some of their other players, whether it be Carmichael, the freshman, or Meadow, and then Buchanan comes off the bench with 27. I mean, what can you say about the rest of the roster?
Well, it makes it really hard to prepare for, I'll tell you that. And when you have a bench guy that scores 27 points, and he was so efficient with it, he scored every way possible, and he's got great size and length. And that's the thing that stands out about this team and their roster is the size and physicality that they play with. Yes, you got the the main guys. But all of them are capable for going off on any given night, and that's the impressive thing about this roster. They're very difficult to prepare for because any of them can go off for a big game.
Any questions for coaches, 3 Ethics?
Thank you, guys.